feel underdressed.
Yeah.
Flav, I feel underdressed.
Did you not get an email? I did not get the email.
No, the email's on your jumper.
Yes.
Yeah. We are delighted to have Sir. Is it Sir yet?
No,
it's not yet. It should be.
No, it's in the post.
Iain Macintosh, famous journalist. Am I not say that? We go that far?
Probably not.
Journalist.
Reputable.
Yeah.
Reputable journalist and Fan League. Is it brand ambassador?
Apparently.
I know. What does that mean? Nobody knows.
We're going to find out
sooner or later. Yeah. And he's here, and he's part of One for the Weekend. For people who don't know, this podcast is brought to you by Fan League, which is an app which revolves around predicting the scores of 13 both Premier League and Championship games every single week. That's going to be launching in August. Details of that are in the description if you want to check that out. But in the lead up to that, we're going to kind of do a bit of predictions, have a bit of chat about the weekend coming up, and we've been taking on each other.
Yeah, you make this sound like this isn't a competition. Like it's not
it is
important.
A competition.
It might not be important to you.
Well, I'm trying to dull down the competition due to my poor showing in it thus far.
Consistently poor.
Yeah. So we'll let you know how you guys can get involved in the comments on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, thank you very much. Subscribe to this channel, might as well. Yeah. And if you listen to it on iTunes, then again, thank you very much. And give us a rating. 5-star ratings are better than 4-star, apparently. So do that. We're going to talk about all sorts. We're going to talk about the top four. Once again, there's a big game in Arsenal versus Man United. We're going to have a chat about that. We've got our bore-off game of the week, which I'll be revealing live on the podcast. What now for Sunderland? We'll have a little quick chat about that. Hull have got them this weekend, so absolutely huge game at the bottom of the table. We're going to get to know Iain a little bit more about his kind of footballing beliefs and pet hates and things like that. And we're bringing back after last week Soldiers Lost in Battle.
Love it.
Those sad stories of people that have missed out on the football for whatever reason. We're going to be reading out some of those reasons on today's One for the Weekend.
Yeah.
Right, enough of me talking. How are you both? How are you, Flav? You good?
I'm really good. I've had one of the best weeks of my life. We destroyed the evil that is Arsenal Football Club at White Hart Lane. They came...
Evil. You were getting the comments, you got called out for being for saying Spurs are the good guys and Arsenal are the bad guys.
Iain, what do
in
you...
your mind,
drag
right?
No. Look, you're a pundit. You have an opinion
God.
on football. I'm asking your opinion. Who is the good and who is the evil in this story?
There's no moral compass in this. It's a Premier League. Everyone's evil.
I know what you're saying. I understand your position, but what you're really saying is there's only one team that moved 8 miles north and invaded a territory, took our women, took our jobs.
You won't be aware of this because you're at the game, which we talk about that actually in a second. But Martin Tyler went through the story in the commentary. Did you remember that? He went through. He goes, of course, this goes back further than just St Totteringham's day. Of course, Arsenal moved from South London to.
What's the name of that documentary? Al Gore made it. The Inconvenient Truth.
Right.
It's an inconvenient. Arsenal want to forget it. We will never let them forget it. We're good. They're evil. And all I'm saying is ultimately, the footballing gods were looking down and they gifted us the 2-0 win. And that's why I've had a great week.
Let's talk about footballing gods, because this is a big phrase that's sort of turned up this year at Bull Street. The other Bull Street podcast, the Long Bull Street, you do with Matt, who's a Huddersfield fan, and he's got very excited this year about Huddersfield doing really well. Of course, they're in the playoffs, but he's very clear on the footballing gods. As soon as you believe something, then that's the end of it.
Oh, absolutely. The footballing gods, they hold the most power. They wield thunderbolts. I mean, if no other logical answer than the ex-player returning to score against his former team, that always happens. You'll note when managers walk out of smaller clubs to join slightly bigger clubs, it always goes horribly wrong.
Yeah.
It never, ever works.
Yeah.
The football gods are to be feared. They're
They
real. And
But
they live
hang
among
on,
us.
you're going on footballing gods, right?
Yeah.
But then the footballing gods would have meant that you probably would have lost that game, wouldn't you? Because you'd tweeted, "Mind the gap, you slags."
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. But sometimes the gods favour the brave and the bold.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it?
It is.
It's complicated.
When talking about theology, often truth and more.
Making up the words as they go along.
Often it's about fitting the story around your circumstances, and very much so. For the first time, I had being bold, being arrogant, and being
gumption,
and I had the gumption, to come out and 2 weeks probably before I should have started giving it to Arsenal fans, and All I can say is now a 17-point gap as opposed to a 14 gap between them. So it's not even really mind the gap anymore, more mind the chasm.
Right. There's I guess there's something to be applauded in that. You've got you went balls out, didn't you? Because if you had Spurs up, which is something that has happened on numerous occasions.
I thought you would. I really thought. I had a couple of quid on Arsenal to win. Purely, like,
I did as well.
Against logic, but just because of the Chelsea result.
Yeah.
I thought Chelsea do that. The only thing that is certain now is that Tottenham are going to somehow lose to Arsenal.
I can't talk about Tottenham without being biased, and I can't talk about Arsenal without being biased. But what have you seen what do you think the reason is that Spurs haven't Spursed it up?
You got a young team of likeable men who are growing up together. They're going through all of this together. They're trusting each other. There's not too much turnover in the squad as well. New arrivals like Sissoko. I don't know why that was a thing.
I mean, he's a chaos creator.
He certainly is that. A man born without a heart forges a career as a professional footballer. But they are getting better and they're getting stronger together. So I think they give each other strength. But it was weird, that game. It was like, do you remember I'm sure you remember when Martin Jol was manager of Tottenham and they used to play Arsenal just as they were becoming a sort of top 6 team.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, Tottenham might do this. And then you'd watch a game and you're like, no, they're on completely different levels. Yeah. It was like that, but the other way round. Arsenal, they're not disastrously bad as in those Tottenham days in the mid-90s. No. But they are very, very obviously now a different level to Spurs.
Yeah, and ultimately it comes down to how long we can ensure that we do finish above Arsenal, because while one season it wouldn't be the end of the world. I'm enjoying myself currently. I would love to come and really kind of see them fall apart and Spurs become a mainstay at the top of the season. You mentioned the Chelsea game, and I think you coined the phrase a while back. We mentioned it on the podcast last week. But Matic scored a thunderbastard.
Grade A thunderbastard as well. I mean, it's almost to the point. If you can read the manufacturer's name on the ball as it goes in on the replay, then it's perfect.
It's a thunderbastard.
So if there's too much spin on it.
Yeah, you don't want. I mean, it's still.
What's the definition of thunderbastard?
Well, ideally, it's obviously a powerfully hit shot from long range. It doesn't necessarily have to always be rising into the net, though that is good. The original Thunderbastard was Papis Cisse against Chelsea, who just larruped one from a wide angle and it crashed to earth.
That swaz, didn't it?
Yeah, it was like Meteorite in the opening scenes of Armageddon. Nothing stopping it. It's that kind of thing. If the goalkeeper gets a hand to it, will he lose his fingers? That kind of thing.
Right.
Nice. Just because you said fingers and it was in my head, but when you go, I could say something and then the conversation's moved on. Right. But that feels like a sign to me. When you said Martin Jol, first thing that came into my head was what a lad at uni. So I was at uni when he was manager, I think, and this lad was like, I can't deal with Martin Jol. It just scares me. He was like, what do you mean? He went, he looks like he eats babies' fingers.
Oh my god!
And then you never look at Martin Jol the same. You really don't, or even hear the name Martin Jol the same.
You always think of.
He was because I think he had chewing gum, and he would always have chewing gum, and he'd be like that.
No!
And he's just going like that. Oh god!
I mean, it probably says more about your friends. I mean, I like it. I get where he's coming from.
I was comfortable with the idea of him just being like a hard-bitten Amsterdam cop. Probably drinks a little more than is good for him, but he gets the job done, damn it.
Well,
I'm fine with that. Baby fingers.
So I apologise, but it was there. It felt like a sign.
Do you know names of his two brothers?
Cock and Dick.
That's right.
Yeah.
Why?
Martin, Cock and Dick.
Why?
Why not?
What happened to Martin though? If you got a cock and you got a dick, wouldn't you be like, Slonger? Walloper?
We'll call him
Willie.
No, go with Martin. Let's do it normally this time.
Chelsea aren't in our slip this week, but is it over now after that Everton win?
Yeah, I can't see that if Chelsea aren't going to have too many problems getting past Everton, I can't see Middlesbrough, Sunderland, Watford and West Brom really slowing them down too much.
Exactly.
But the biggest thing is, I mean, what's Tottenham's run now? Nine wins on the bounce?
That's right.
If Tottenham were to win the last...
such joy.
Enjoyed that.
That's right.
If they were to win the last 4 games, then that's 13. Only one team has done more than 13 wins consecutively. Only 2 teams have done 13 wins consecutively. It's asking a lot of Tottenham. Yeah. I'm sparing him by not saying it's Arsenal who did 14 wins.
Yeah, no.
But it's...
I could see, did 13 this season as well.
Yeah, I could see Chelsea dropping a point or 3, but I just can't see Tottenham winning that many games at this stage of the season.
We've got tough games, and Chelsea, they're much more favourable running. I've kind of conceded, although you never know.
I think that's a good way to be.
But I think the thing to remember, because people keep coming out with this thing, it's about time Tottenham won something. So hang on a minute, like 18 months ago, I was on the Guardian podcast and I said, don't laugh at me, but is it time we started considering Tottenham as genuine title challengers? And everybody laughed. Yeah. And then I turned Twitter on and it got even worse. But we are only 18 months from that point, and suddenly we're like, well, they should have won something now, shouldn't they? It's like, hang on, it's Tottenham.
Can I address
bloody
that?
Tottenham.
Yeah. No one wants Tottenham in there. No one wants, it's like no one wants QPR in the Championship, in the Premier League.
You're right. You're right.
No one wants them there because they don't really deserve to be there ever, right? Sorry, I'm only mucking, but I think Spurs coming in kind of upsets the apple cart somewhat.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Why not?
They're a kind of almost not sort of organically developed, but there's a lot of young players in. There's a lot of players who are brought in at one level who've raised to another level. That's always nice to see. They play good football. 21st century. It's high press. It's quick tempo. I think there's a lot to like about them. I promise you, I'm not currying favour. Later on, I'll say something nice about Arsenal. Yeah. If I can possibly think of anything.
I think the English contingent, that part of it as well. I know we've definitely spoken about it at some point. It's like, do you support the English teams in Europe? And my feelings on that have changed. And it sounds really dodgy, but because Man United in '99 had a load of English guys, and because I'm a QPR fan, I kind of go, well, I'm nowhere near that, so I'm allowed to like that. There's not enough English guys that you can identify in most of those teams.
You only like success.
I've never subscribed to this theory.
No. My point is,
born and bred English, proper English blokes.
The point is, you can identify with them and you can get on board with Spurs.
You can't identify with someone who isn't English. What are you saying?
Not as much. Not as much. Don't do that.
What am I talking about? I'm just repeating what you're saying.
To a point, yes.
Don't do it to yourself.
To a point, yes. I'm standing by that. Anyway, and that's the reason why I think a lot of unbiased fans or neutral fans to that top six, I don't think they've got a problem with Spurs. Really.
I think one of the, you may be right. Just to clarify what you just said, one of the
I'm not bigot.
Yeah, you're one of the things about.
Is it like this every week? Yeah. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, good.
One of the things about football is that you can say stuff about football that everyone knows isn't racist or borderline xenophobic because it's about football. Right. The minute you take football out of the equation...
You said that straight away? What did you have to wait?
I'm just clarifying.
Maybe go red first.
I'm just clarifying it just in case anybody out there just thinks you are a racist. Yeah. You're not.
I don't usually read the comments, but I think I'm going to make an exception.
You should check them out this week. Yeah. Alright, done. Thanks for that, Flav. Thank you. I think we've racist. I think that could have been a sticky situation. We've just about dodged it. Right, let's get the heat off me and put it on someone else. First, we go last week's results. Actually, let's get that out of the way because, again, James Alcott not doing very well. Look, it just gets worse. I just spoke about myself in the third person. Yeah. I got 4 right out of 13, which is crap. Flav with 5 is just above me, and out in front, Ian. And Garrett with 7. Fan Garrett.
We picked him because he was crap.
Yeah, I know, that's what we were hoping for. And he's just gone miles ahead.
Love it.
Absolute nightmare.
Absolutely love it.
What's the secret?
Well, to be honest, 7 out of 13. I'm not really proud of. I'm actually getting quite irritated. It always seems to be 7 or 8, and
I'm intrigued to.
It should be.
Sorry, I'm intrigued to find out what is a good score. 7 out of 13.
Double figures, I think, is a good score. But I mean, I'm a very, very lucky person. Very lucky. All of anyone who reads anything I write will say he is lucky to be in a job. I get to watch football for a living. That means I go to at least one game every week. It means that my wife can't walk in on me watching football and go, "What are you doing watching football?" Because I go, it's work.
I'm still navigating that. Still navigating that. She's not having it yet.
I've got scouting software that enables me to watch any game I want, and I take full advantage. I watch a lot of football.
Sorry,
so 7 out of 13.
What's that? And where did you get it from?
Yeah. Well, you have to pay for it.
How much?
Irritating bit. I'll tell you afterwards. It's not bad.
Really?
Check it out. Y-Scout. They haven't paid me any money.
You're brand ambassador for them as well.
Whatever I can get. So I watch a lot of football, primarily Premier League football, and then my Premier League predictions are awful. They're really bad. I keep backing Sunderland to win because I don't think they can be as bad as they are, but they are. In fact, they're worse.
I mean, it's almost. I'm kind of sticking the knife in my own back here, really, but it's kind of why punditry doesn't have much.
Much what?
Value.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, they're looking to predict the future, and they can't officially do that. So yeah, in that sense, you're right.
Yeah.
Do you know what,
So
this is the
why
wrong.
does everyone insist on doing it all the time?
Because it's good fun.
Okay.
Is it
Right,
though?
well,
I mean,
it's fine,
I
then.
get stressed about it now.
It's great fun when you get it right, isn't it?
I look at I have my slip next to me all the way through the weekend, looking at it and looking at results and thinking, how can these two things be so different?
Look, to be fair, this is the wrong time to be doing it in the season. This is where the teams at the bottom start winning and the teams at the top start.
Because they're on holiday.
But this is where you can get the gains on everyone, you see. When it all starts and the prize money's there, if all the usual suspects, form goes out the window, this is where you can sneak up and make it count.
You've got to have the gumption to do it.
This is where my mum will win. My mum will love something like this. It's a bit like doing the pools, and my mum will just be like...
There's a couple of weird ones in here, though. Man City. How did they not win that? Like, that is a given, isn't it? That is a banker.
That was one of my bankers.
Yeah, it was one of, I think it was everyone's, wasn't it? Crystal Palace at home. Burnley a crap away. What's going on?
Little fact for you, Middlesbrough scored 8.33% of all the goals they've scored this season in that game.
Really?
That's what happens when I put Man
Nearly
City
10% of their goals in that. Wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow, that is incredible.
Unbelievable.
That's pretty annoying. But yeah, football's
But good for Borough.
good for Bury. It keeps them in the hunt.
It does at least. I still think they're going down, but at least they're going down with a bit of pride.
Yeah,
at least they're going down swinging, not like Sunderland.
I don't mind that because it is quite far
What?
from
Middlesbrough. Yeah, it's a
just
mission.
just get out of the way.
Can you get it direct? I've never actually been to the Riverside.
I'm not part. It's just too far.
Who's Brent? Adam's a Brentford fan. My other mate is a good Brentford fan. He played them in the playoffs. Middlesbrough, and one of my best mates, he's a Brentford fan, got the coach, and so he left his house. He had to go to Griffin Park, to then go to Middlesbrough, to then go back, and it was a 21-hour trip because they got caught in traffic, and they lost 3-0.
Wow.
Last year I went with the Carlisle fans to Plymouth, which is one of the longest trip in football at the time. And so I went up the night before to Carlisle, stayed in a hotel, met up with the fans, got on the bus at 10 in the morning, 10 a.m. Wednesday morning, drove all the way down to Plymouth, getting there at about 6 p.m. We walked out, couldn't see a thing because the sun was going down over the opposite side, so we were absolutely blinded, which was good because Plymouth went 4-0 up very, very quickly. Back on the bus, all the way back up, left at about 10 p.m, pulled into Carlisle at 5 a.m.
That is, I mean, how many fans did they take?
They took about 40, 45.
That is, I mean...
And they paid for that.
That's
that is a loyalty I can't even come close.
Did they develop a kind of stoical attitude to it?
Well, the funny thing is, it's for them. It's not really about the football.
Yeah.
It's like that's their gang. That's what they do. That was the answer whenever I said, "Why are you doing this? You're completely mad." They're like, "It's just what we do."
Belonging.
They're all down there. They've got their like travel cushions and bags of sweets and paperbacks, and they do bingos and have prizes, and that's their life. And they're so happy and cool.
Couple of beers.
Yeah, they're just no beers are allowed on transport. I'm sure you know that, Flav.
I do know that, but there is no way under the sun, and I'm happy to say this on camera, that I'm getting on a coach without beer. Yeah. There are methods. There are methods. I mean, I probably IV actually, but an IV drip. You could do that. Or
alcohol suppositories. You just
straight up the arse.
Sit on.
Or just go to McDonald's, dish the Coke, fill it for a vodka.
Standard, yeah. Yeah, jungle juice. Lovely.
Maybe not vodka. But
up to you. Yeah, other drinks are available. Let's get to know Iain Macintosh. Okay?
Yeah.
You know, you're new to this. You're new to this scene.
Yes.
And we just want to get to know you a little bit better. So, and the people as well, the people that aren't aware of you.
What
it's
scene?
a good... Huh?
What scene?
Yeah, what are we doing?
Podcast scene.
Not really.
Oh.
It's been
The predicting
all right,
football
predicting football
scene,
scene.
yeah.
That scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, name.
Iain Macintosh.
Yeah, we knew that already. Profession.
Tit with keyboard. I think would best suffice.
Can you get that on your passport?
Yeah, I think so. There's enough space.
Yeah.
When we get those newfangled blue ones in.
Yeah.
Oh.
Best known for?
Probably Football Manager more than actual football reporting.
We need to talk about Football Manager.
But yeah.
Okay. Who do you support?
Southend United.
Why do you support them?
My dad, he was a West Ham fan, but it was the 80s and he wasn't that keen on taking me to West Ham. And we lived in Chelmsford, which is pretty much equidistant from Southend and Colchester. So he said, son, I'll take you to a game, you've got a choice, Southend or Colchester. Which actually isn't really much of a choice. But I went with Southend and I've never really settled. No, it was wonderful. We went there and we came through the rickety turnstile and up the steps and that green rectangle just opens up in front of you, and I breathed in and there it was, stale urine, fried onions, despondency, and everyone was swearing loads, which when you're that age is like the most exciting thing ever. Yeah. And that was it. I was in for better or worse, and mainly worse.
That's all right. First game?
At Southend, that was Huddersfield at home. Southend were bizarrely riding high, top of the then third division. Huddersfield were just above the relegation zone in that kind of probably not going to go down, but certainly not going up. It was the cast iron home banker, and Huddersfield won 1-0. And in a weird kind of way, that sort of set me up for the whole lifetime experience.
Because when I have kids, they will be a QPR fan, in fact, and you take them along. But for me, like the first 5 or 6 games, we won.
Yeah.
And I always think that that must have been a huge part of it. And I'm really worried that if that first one doesn't go well, then you might not be able to...
I'm devastated at the moment because my wife went away a couple of weekends ago. Not for good. Everything's fine. But it's just me and my 5-year-old daughter, and we've been talking about going to a game. I was like, well, Mum's away. We've got no plans. We were supposed to go visit grandparents, but they cancelled on us. Like, let's go Southend. We've got Walsall. Let's go Southend, Walsall. And the last minute, my mum phoned up. She said, "Oh, we're back on. Come round." So I was like, "Okay, well, we'll do it again another time. What's Soccer Saturday? Southend 0, Walsall 2 at half time." It was like, "Oh, phew, dodged a bullet there." Full time, Southend 3, Walsall 2. Last minute winner. So one of those games that just defines you forever. If my daughter had been in Roots Hall that day.
Done.
Like, she'd be wearing Southend kits to school right now. Yeah. Like, she would be absolutely in. And I blew it. Yeah. I may never get that chance again.
Hey, come on. Wow. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
Did you win your first game?
Yeah, we beat Bournemouth 3-2, I want to say, but I was only 5, so
okay.
I fell asleep.
Did you?
Yeah.
Right. What is your key, is your key footballing belief?
Footballing belief? What, for watching or
that's as open a question as I can. What is your most important footballing belief?
Just don't be a dick. There's like.
See, that's actually.
Don't be a dick.
That's in.
It's fun.
In the New Zealand team in their 16 rules, one of them is no dicks, no dickheads.
Yeah. I spoke to a football manager who I can't name for this because I was promised not to, and we were talking about recruitment policy, and he said, "I just have one rule: no dickheads."
Yeah.
And it's you don't have to be a dick about it. It's fine. It's football. It's fun.
Exactly.
Who is the biggest dickhead in football?
Biggest dickhead in
your
football?
opinion? Who was?
Jose Bazinga.
Jose Bazinga. I would say Stephen Hunt.
Stephen Hunt?
No. You got a thing about him?
I'm sure he's lovely.
Yeah, he's really nice.
Have you met him?
I haven't, but I've heard from him.
Has Juice, a good shout from Adam.
Has Juice, yeah, but that's too obvious. That's too obvious. You've got to go with someone who comes... What basically I'm asking, right, is that player that comes to...
Undercover dick.
Play against you, and they're like nippy. They're snapping at the heels. They're constantly... They're not great footballers, but they're a pain in the bloody arse.
I would say the most dickish thing I've seen at Southend's level, I don't know if he is a dick. You might be watching now, you might be fine, but this was dickish. Yeah. It was Leon Court who used to play for us, and he moved to Crystal Palace. Why wouldn't you? Bigger club, more wages. And bizarrely, Southend ended up in the second flight, and we went there. It was like first away game of the season. Leon Court was there, and a little group of Southend fans seeing Leon Court clapping. Nothing, didn't acknowledge it.
Really?
Game started, Leon Court got the ball, little Leon Court thing, nothing, didn't acknowledge it. Scored against us, obviously, football gods and all that, and ran in front of us and celebrated.
Why? What a
we
dick!
were being nice.
Why? Why being a dick?
Yeah. So,
that's the first word you think, didn't you? Dick. Absolutely. There you go. That's a great. This is the good thing about this podcast. This is why you need to listen to it every single week. Let us know in the comments below. Undercover dicks. Who are they?
Yeah.
Why are they dicks?
Yeah.
And what did you think at the end of it? the obvious answer is dick.
Dickhead.
Right, next question. What's your favourite footballing phrase?
Favourite footballing phrase?
Mine's Thunderbastard.
I still like take a bow, son. I think there's just something so like patrician-like about that. Like, take a bow, son, in front of me. You've done something magnificent. Take a bow.
Kiss the ring.
Yeah, exactly. Well done. You may live for another day. Take a bow, son.
I've never thought
I never thought about it
that
that way either. It was like, you're the... isn't it like you're the man? Yeah, but you're deciding you're the man, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's true.
And a line to that were Andy Gray's improvised conversations that he'd have with footballers as well. It'd be like, he's just popped that up and he said, go on, have a go with that. And he said, thank you very much. Which corner would you like it in? And he said, I'm not really concerned. We're losing 1-0. We really need this goal. Let's stop talking. I put it.
We're running out of
going
time.
with this, Andy?
That's brilliant.
Writing his own script.
What is your least favourite footballing phrase?
All we're asking for is, and it's always common sense or consistency, these two
Yes.
terms cannot live side by side.
Yeah.
They cannot live side by side. Because you go back to that League Cup final where Aston Villa played Manchester United and the referee could have sent off the player, but he decided it was like second minute of a cup final, so he used his common sense. So that's one way. If he had sent him off, and he should have done, then it would have been consistency. These two things cannot live side by side. Any pundit who says all we're asking for is common sense, they better stick to that.
Yeah.
If they come up next week saying all we're looking for is consistency.
What that drives me mad is the one where, so be it Blackpool or Portsmouth, and they were struggling on this. Are they struggling now? I don't know.
Blackpool?
Sorry, Portsmouth.
They've just gone
No,
off.
just
The one away- I know, yeah, so they're fine now, are they again? Leeds, when they've had their sort of ups and downs, and it's always often it's Mark Lawrenson on Football Focus going, the thing is, and you're going, right, what's this nugget of wisdom that you're about to offer me? What Leeds need? Stability. That's what they need. Oh, right, hang on. Apparently it's stability, Lawrenson said. You're going to nip off the Tesco's and get a bit of stability. Yeah. Shut up. Like, of course. Of course.
I haven't got anything on pundits, but I got when fans simply scream forward from this.
Well, get it down.
Yeah. Like, forward, like they're not.
Yeah.
Like they're not gonna do it. Like what it is really they just don't know what to do. They need to release something.
Yeah.
So they release it just by going forward.
I had a Sunday League manager who would just he would go, don't defend. Attack! What are you trying, mate? His best ever pre-match speech was, right guys, so all you got to do is get the ball, get it out wide, get down the line, cross it in, score a goal. Perfect.
Oh, right.
All right, hang on. Sorry, what was I saying there?
I do think some coaches overcomplicate football. And,
Yeah, I think that's
this
oversimplifying.
guy could go far.
Yeah.
I forget actually a transition between a back four and a back three in the space of minutes.
But I think we did kind of score a goal like that, and everyone for a second went,
But it's the guys
right.
like with the clipboards on the sidelines for the bloke going on for injury time. It's like he's going on for 60 seconds. He probably doesn't need all of this. He's not
that's
even
true,
going to touch the ball.
That's brilliant. Footballing pet hate. I love pet hates in football. That's my favourite thing.
Halifax Town. I don't. It was when I went to university. I didn't get to see Southend. I was in Cornwall, which is about as far away as it's possible to still be in the country and be away. And I came back, and the first game on was Southend Halifax. So I was really excited because you get more into your team when you're away. Weirdly, like particularly when you're at university, because your personality is forming and hardening, and you are the Southend fan in Cornwall. So I was even more excited than normal, and went there. And Halifax just played like 6 at the back and then 4 about a foot in front of them and just didn't come past the halfway line. It was the worst game I've ever seen in my life, and I was so angry at Halifax for ruining that moment. I've never forgiven them. Ordinarily, when clubs tumble out of the Football League and they have all of those problems behind the scenes, my heart is overflowing with sympathy towards them. With Halifax, it was like, yeah, it serves you right for negative football.
I also went to university in
Footballing
Cornwall,
gods.
and we have had this conversation, but I remember it, you don't, which is hard.
I was drinking
hurting
a
me.
lot at the time.
We were in a pub. You obviously don't remember that either.
Yeah,
But that's
no,
fine.
That's normal.
No,
to be
but
fair.
my experiences in Falmouth were that.
You went to Falmouth, you said?
Yeah.
God, you should have mentioned this earlier.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's tough when you do.
Orcs.
Yeah, no, seriously. And I had my time. That was 2001 when Spurs were horrendous. And I remember sitting in a pub against Arsenal in the semi-final, and it was Sol Campbell's last game for Tottenham, and he went off injured. And I thought, I'm in Falmouth. I'm, as you say, as far away from London as I could possibly be without leaving the country. I'm just going to forget about football. I didn't have no real affinity. I just I'm going to forget about Spurs for 3 years. This is so much easier.
Did you?
Let me find some
other things?
Alcohol.
Oh, okay.
Really.
And did you do that?
Did
you do that for 3 years?
No, I did follow him, but I from a distance.
Yeah,
from a distance. I could get over results a lot easier than I can now.
Still to come, I'm going to reveal the bore-off game of the week. What now for Sunderland? Quick chat on Arsenal, Man United, because I feel like this season we speak a lot about Arsenal, so we don't need to talk about too much. And Soldiers lost in battle, and we've got 2 questions for the weekend at the end of this podcast. Let's get the football not out the way. Let's talk more football. Championship's the last weekend, last game of the season. For me, it was the last game that I was going to this season. Forest at the weekend. I was very nervous, as you remember, Flav, because we could have still gone down. Somehow we got the win.
Good win.
Massive relief. But one thing, I don't know if you've ever felt this about it, but have you had a season ticket? Have you ever had a season ticket?
No.
Have you not? All right. Have you ever had a season ticket?
Funnily enough, no.
Have you not? All right. Okay, maybe just only I can say that, I guess. Anyway, I always get really sad at the last game because your card's not worth anything anymore. Or the last, when you used to have like a ticket, it's your last ticket out of your booklet. Like that is worthless now.
But
it's pointless because it's over.
Do they not just renew it?
Well, no, you get a new one each year, which is quite exciting.
Don't you have like a sort of Valhalla for season tickets on the wall where they exist forever?
Yeah, maybe not for this season because it's been that bad. But down the bottom, Forest can still go down. Blackburn have kept it alive. Don't worry, these aren't on your slip, but just to talk about it just for a second, because Huddersfield have got into a bit of trouble, I guess, for playing such a what they again saying is a weakened side last week, and then they lost to Birmingham, who are the other side who can still go down. Just wanted to get your thoughts on this really, really quickly. How do you feel about the sort of the anger towards Huddersfield for playing understrength side?
It's just nonsense. You're not employed as a manager to look after the league. You're employed to look after your team. He's got playoffs coming up. He's had a very long season playing high-intensity football. And to be honest, he was mixing and matching his teams for the FA Cup. When they played Man City, that wasn't a full-strength team. So if it was good enough to hold Man City, it should have been good enough to get something at Birmingham. But equally, it's not his problem.
Yeah, we were chatting on a Great Touch yesterday. And the burden of staying up, it's not on Huddersfield.
Yeah.
It's on you to get the points. And so there should be no guilt at all. And I think it's absolute nonsense.
Well, and who's the arbiter of players and whether or not they're good enough to get on the pitch? Because if
that's really offensive.
If another team's playing kids towards the end of the season in what would be a sensible attempt to kind of get them blooded for the next campaign, that's not a problem, is it?
I think if Huddersfield had happened to be, let's say Chelsea, and have a wealth of talent on the bench, but actually had gone outside of their top 16 players and then just plucked a team full of youth players, then that you can understand that because what you're playing at. But Huddersfield have a wage bracket, amount of money they can spend on wages. They've got a certain amount of quality in their squad. They do have to save players. They do have to, it's not. So I don't know who's actually moaning apart from Bristol City fans.
Well, it's not like they stuck the groundsman in goal and the cat on left wing or anything like that. They're professional footballers.
Well, Warburton's been saying, Adam, I don't know if you know about this, and Mark Warburton, who is manager at Forest now, who's had a bit of a nightmare for Rangers where it was all looking good. Now he could go down into League One. He said it's obviously a very clear kind of message to Brentford, his old club, that they'll definitely play their best team. Don't worry about that. But
what's the relationship? Is he still liked?
It's difficult. It's quite hard. Like 50% do like him, 50% don't.
Okay.
Are there Brentford fans out there just for it?
There would have been back when QPR had a chance of going down. But now they're safe. Not really.
Alright, no, so it's more QPR thing than the Forest thing. But that would be a disaster for Forest if they do go down. Well, Blackburn too, I guess.
In fairness, they deserve to go down. Not the fans, because the stuff they've had to put up with has been incredible. But you cannot run a football club as badly as Nottingham Forest have been run. I mean, selling Burke for 13 million with no sell-on clause, no nothing, was madness. The way they've...
Do you think they were just so delighted to get that money initially, to get 13 mil for it?
Is this the guy who went to RB Leipzig?
Yeah, they're not even thinking.
That was good money?
Well, the thing with Burke is he's not the finished article, even remotely. In fact, one of the coaches at Leipzig said he's like a blank hard drive. There's nothing there. We've basically got to teach him how to play football. But he's about 6'2". He's built like a brick outhouse. He's fast as you like, and he can run with the ball. There's all the potential is there. But letting him go in a deal like that was insane.
Why? That sounds like a blank canvas, 13 million. Sounds
I mean, the club was in the process of being sold at the time.
Right.
I don't know if that had anything to do with it at all. But they need...
Don't do it.
They need new owners who can just lay down foundations and run it as a proper football club, because it's been run very, very badly.
Well, sometimes that works going... I think it's a cop-out to go, oh, they need to go down, start again. But you do start to win games again, and that can change the whole feeling of the club.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, but then they're in a little trio of appallingly run clubs with Blackburn way out in front.
Yeah.
Absolute madness behind the scenes there, and then and Birmingham for sacking Gary Rowett while they're on the fringes of the playoffs, and replacing him with Zola, and now they find themselves on the fringes of the relegation zone. Yeah. So you could make a good case for any one of those three going down.
But yeah, they're the Championship. They're huge clubs. They're all huge clubs.
To go down? Who would you like to see suffer a little bit? Like when Newcastle went down, everyone was happy. Like everyone was happy to see them go, weren't they?
Yeah.
Like boo-hoo, go on, fuck off.
You know they're going to win it. Well, I wasn't, because I knew they were going to come in the Championship and just dick it.
I wouldn't say happy about it, but I thought it was adequate punishment again for the way the club have been run,
and for their fans.
No, I like their fans.
I'm sure you do.
Do you know who I want to go down?
You have to, as an ESPN journalist, you've got to sometimes can't say things like, Newcastle fans deserve it. You can't, but I can.
That's certainly true,
and they deserve it.
The thing with Newcastle fans, they get a bad press sometimes because there's this weird perception that they demand success. They haven't had any success for so long. I don't know where this comes from. Yeah. There must be one Newcastle fan just wandering around to everyone going, we're going to win the league. And we need to win the league. We've invested strongly.
He says we're winning the league. And he just goes on.
Who is he? Well, he needs to be silent. I was up there the day that they got relegated. I was up there. They were at Villa. 2009 was it when they went down? They were at Villa. I was watching it in a pub in Newcastle. You could not find a Newcastle fan who was anything other than, well, that was always going to happen. That was always going to happen. Yeah. This perception is really weird.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where. Well, so let's talk about Newcastle. Let's move on to that. So on here we do, I think, bankers for most of us. Yep. Newcastle at home to Barnsley can still win the league.
Yep.
I think.
Poor Brighton Barnsley.
Yeah, Barnsley. I just feel like they're going to get an absolute hiding in that game.
Yeah, I think so. But they started really well, Barnsley, and then the vultures started to circle, and the fact that they're 14th, they've had a very, very good season.
Yeah, for the players they lost.
But this is going to be like a carnival for Newcastle. Last day of the season, title still in with a shout, and if they can get some good news about Benitez sticking around beforehand, you could be looking.
Is that not a given then?
4-0. Possibly not.
Really? Andy Brassel did this once. Yeah. Andy Brassel did this. Possibly not. You know something.
Well, I don't know anything. I think anyone who reads my work will tell you that.
I've got a body of work that will back that up.
There are serious concerns about the relationship between Mike Ashley and Rafa Benitez. Oh. Rafa, as we all know, is someone who wants complete control of absolutely everything. He wants to be given the keys to the football club and left alone. And if he is given that, everything will be fine. But if wars start to open up, and he will open up fronts everywhere. He did it at Liverpool. He's done it wherever he's been. He wants to be left alone to run the club. Mike Ashley, on the other hand, will leave people alone for a few months. Everything goes like that, and he'll stumble back in the room. Yeah. Hold on, we're changing the name of the stadium. And up it all goes again. So they need to come to some agreement. There was some disharmony there in the winter when Benitez was under the impression he'd have another 20 or 30 million to spend. Because remember, although he spent 50 mil, he actually got 80 in as well. And he was expecting to get the rest to sort of push him over the top. And when he didn't get that, he felt his trust.
He didn't need that, though.
Probably
their squad
not,
is incredible.
No.
They beat a 6-0 at home, and I was just like, wow.
I mean, part of relegation is about balancing the books as well. That's his job.
But then if you've been told you're going to get this and then you don't get it, if you've been told that you'll be picking the players and it won't be Graham Carr, who's still there, then you whether or not you can trust the owners is a question that needs to be answered.
And going back to your point of no dickheads, that he kind of switched that about. Like people like Matt Ritchie, Dwight Gale. They're gonna work hard, and Matt Ritchie's far too good for the Championship. But if they go up and start doing that again, then the same thing will happen again.
Remember what happened last time? Chris Hughton got him up, a feat for which he was never given enough credit, and he had him in mid-table when he was sacked.
And they actually properly won the league. They destroyed the league at that time. So yeah, they could still do it. They're 91 points. They're on their home to Barnsley. Brighton away at Aston Villa. I really want Brighton to win the league, but I've got a funny feeling Villa are going to get a draw in this one at least.
I've gone for a home win upset.
Yeah,
It
feels like that, doesn't it? Not for you.
Villa's form hasn't been all that. I think
No.
Jonathan Khadija's injured, isn't he?
Scott Hogan played a game.
He did his. Is he back?
Yeah, I think so.
Scott Hogan, yeah. Asamoah's he's one of my favourite players for them. I just got a funny feeling they're going to do something there and ruin it, because Brighton are kind of desperate to win that game.
I think they're done. I think they're ready for Steve Bruce to start shedding players quite rapidly over the summer.
That's going to be an interesting summer at Aston Villa, because again, first year you can kind of go for it and spend all that money, but then after that you need to start thinking about what you're going to do if you don't go up the next year, and that can inevitably kind of.
They've done it very strangely. And never tell people how much money you've got. Never tell people you're going to spend loads of money. Otherwise they'll put their prices up. Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah. I'm fully aware of that. Let's keep you up at fully aware of that. Arsenal Man United. Yeah. Do Arsenal Man United, then what now for Sunderland? Actually, let's do what now for Sunderland. Stay in the North East. Is this, we were just saying before, they need to go down to come back and be stronger. Yeah. I think that was the only kind of resolution to this, because the squad that they had was awful. I don't think they will come back for a while. I mean, they'll do a Villa next year. I think.
Not for a while. This is it. This is Sunderland gone.
If
League Two.
If they react to this in the right way, they could come back in sort of 3 or 4 seasons.
They need to take that long.
They need to focus on what they've got. They've got 48,000 seater stadium and enough people crazy enough to pay money to get inside it. Those fans, the fact that they keep turning up in such numbers is absolutely extraordinary. Yeah. So they've got that, and they've got the fans. They've also got a Grade 1 youth academy, which is still spitting out very decent players, particularly in the case of Jordan Pickford. So they've got that catchment area in the North East. And Scotland not too far away. They need to just settle down, focus, start building a team, start having some idea of what it is they're trying to achieve. Because under Moyes, I was always a big fan of David Moyes, but his recruitment has been almost lazy. 7 out of 9 signings have been people he's already had.
Yeah, he's literally done nothing in about 5 years of management. Since taking over Man United, he's really just done nothing. 3 disasters in a row. I think the only place, if he does get sacked, which is unlikely given that he's got 3 years left on his contract.
If you're chairman of Sunderland, what would you do?
A fresh start. You'd have to. If I was chairman of Sunderland, I'd have read a little more into that comment with the female reporter and tried to get out the contract. Because I'm devious and nasty.
Wow.
That's how you do business, James.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm learning so much.
But no, I wouldn't have. I like David Moyes and I respect what he did at Everton, but I haven't seen any evidence of those attributes at Sunderland. It's just, can you pick out anything that's worked out well? Brian Oviedo's done all right. Didier Undong is passable competent.
Yeah.
That is about it.
He had no money to spend in January. And he couldn't really get anyone in the summer, it seems like. But maybe that's part of it.
He spent about 30 million. He spent 15 million on Didier Undong. He spent about 8 million on Papi Djilibodji. He spent 8 million on McNair and Donald Love. So he has had some money. All I think about is Grand Theft Auto when I hear Donald Love. He has had money to spend, and it hasn't worked.
Sounds like a porn star, doesn't it? Donald Love.
Come on.
What?
Come on.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Can I shock you?
Go on.
I don't like David Moyes.
Really?
I don't think
he That's not a shock, is it? You're being sarcastic, weren't you?
Boring football. It's supposed to be entertained. He's there, he's got a 4-year contract. The reason why he's still there is because they can't afford to. It can't be that because they've got money from the TV deals. They must have.
They're 150 million in debt.
they've got no money.
They've got an £83 million wage bill.
Yeah, so that's why he's still there. Because you look at Hull, you look at Swansea. At least even if Swansea go down, I think Hull will stay. But if Swansea go down, at least they tried. They were proactive. It's almost like everybody at Sunderland have sat back and gone, this is inevitable.
The squad is clearly not good enough from very early on. One of the good things about predicting on enough things is you'll get something right. I was certain they were going down. I was certain they were going down from the start. They looked exhausted. That squad's been there a long time, battling relegation for a long time, and each year there was this little miracle that happened. And
I went the other way. The first game I did this season was Man City Sunderland, and they were 1-1 with about 5 minutes left, and then City scored. But they battled. They put in a decent kind of rearguard performance. There was a bit of fight there. I'll say that is one thing Moyes has done. You can accuse the Sunderland team of a lot of things, but they are sort of trying. They're just not very good. They've always been like absolutely appalling, worst football team you've ever seen. And then it gets to about April and they go like that and they pull these performances out of their bottom somehow. But this time they're just not quite good enough, not quite good enough, not quite good enough, not quite good enough, all the way to the end of the season. So there's that stability that we were talking about.
Yeah, and they've got it.
They're consistently not good enough.
So obviously they've gone down. They play Hull. That's as home a banker as Hull could ask for.
Yeah. Well, all home games are bankers for Hull.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But the manager hasn't lost a home game in 3 years.
It's amazing, isn't it? Absolutely incredible. So yeah, I think, have we all gone for that?
I'm changing mine to banker.
Oh yeah, that was one of my.
You're doing yours on the fly.
I haven't actually. No, I'm done. But I didn't have it as a banker. But
Arsenal versus Man United is definitely the tie of the weekend. I've gone for a draw in that one.
It's probably the safest bet. It depends what Man United turn up. I mean, we're talking now just a few hours before they kick off against Celta Vigo, and I think everything depends on that result. If that goes well, I think he's probably going to protect players. I think you'll be seeing a lot of unfamiliar names on the team sheet against Arsenal.
That's a very good point.
Which may not be that bad because Arsenal are probably broken-hearted and in disarray right now.
Yeah, I mean that's. You always think what could make Arsenal, what could the whole furore over Arsenal be? How can you make it more flammable? And I think the way you can do it this week is by Man United playing an understrength side and beating Arsenal. Yeah, that's the next one, isn't it? That's this week's one.
You would have to worry. I don't think that's going to happen. I think at home, Arsenal they're like you said, they're not awful. They're not the team that Tottenham used to be, despite the shift in power that we've seen this season. I think if should they get a semi-decent result against Celta Vigo or a draw or something like that, they'll think, regardless of the result, they're going to be resting players because that's Champions League football that ultimately they can guarantee by winning the Europa League. But how damaged are Arsenal inside? I mean, this is a lot of this is speculation. I don't know if you know anything or have heard anything. But the way they're playing, they have good players. This isn't a team that seems to be together at all.
No, exactly. I mean, you look at Ozil and he's barely there. You look at Sanchez and I mean he's been in a strop since about October. And you're looking around, it's the same old thing. It's really hard to talk about Arsenal without just descending into cliches from the last 5 years. But
what I would say
don't see leaders.
For that game, if they get that, I think they need that first goal. Like the game against you guys, they were kind of hanging in there to the first goal. As soon as the first goal went in, you were like, well, the game's over. I know the second goal came quickly.
Did okay in the first.
That's what I mean. They were battling, and so if they can get that first goal in this game, I think that will kind of relieve a lot of pressure.
They shouldn't be that fragile. I mean, it's Arsenal. They've been one of the greatest teams of the last 20 years, with one of the greatest managers of the last 20 years. They spent serious money now. It's not like you can say, oh, it's Wenger's fault, he's not getting his checkbook out. They're spending money. Granit Xhaka was 30 million quid.
I mean, that's
somehow
crazy.
I still think that there's still a way out of this for Wenger. And he's shown that he can be more flexible by moving to the back three, which there's precious little for Arsenal to cling to against Tottenham, but for the first time they weren't completely overrun. When they dropped back, more often than not, a back five, they had red shirts there, they were filling gaps, they didn't look quite as vulnerable as before. It's going the other way that was a problem.
Even the first goal was quite scrappy. I mean, in another...
It takes a scrappy goal and a penalty, but I mean, Tottenham could have been 2 up already by that point. But the problem I thought was when Dele Alli goes in for that rebound and gets it, look at how slow the Arsenal players are to react.
There was nothing, was there?
There's just another guy on the line just sort of waving a mannequin's leg at it.
Yeah.
There's no... What set the teams apart, along with a number of other things, was that intensity. And Arsenal just haven't got it. And I think you're right. I think there's something gone behind the scenes there. That they're not a team.
Predictions? Do you remember what you went
I've gone for draw.
Okay, I've gone for draw.
I've almost certainly hedged it.
I did hedge
gone
it
for a draw on something else.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good one. Okay, bore-off game of the week. Not much to be said about it. Burnley v West Brom. Let's move on swiftly. Right, it's that time. Here we go. Flav, can you explain Soldiers Lost in Battle, please?
So these are the poor men and women. Hopefully we haven't had a women one yet.
Not yet.
This is the time where the poor men who would love to just sit down with a beer or go to the football and watch and be with their friends and family and enjoy the beautiful game haven't been able to because they've had to go to IKEA or see a nan.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So last week we had a few and we've continued to send our support for them. Here are some of this week's Soldiers Lost in Battle. Kick off with Ben. I missed about 20 years of games because I moved to Japan for work. Got married, had a kid, built a home, got a dog. It wasn't worth it. Except maybe the dog. Dr. JRL. A mate of mine once missed a game for our local team because he had to plumb in his washing machine. Never looked at him the same after that.
You wouldn't. You just wouldn't.
Of course you wouldn't. Avaral Sachedo. I once missed El Clasico because I was stuck in traffic and I was swearing at everything that came in front of my cab. And finally, RGS 96. I had to miss Liverpool batter Spurs this season to go to my girlfriend's 21st fucking birthday party.
She's going to have more birthday parties.
Fuck my life. That's the Soldiers Lost in Battle this week.
Strong.
Stay strong, guys. Stay strong.
Stay strong.
If you've got a message of support for a friend who's missing the football this weekend, or you're willing to share your own story, because that's what it's about. You need to get it off your chest.
You're not alone.
You're not alone. Let us know in the comments below, and we'll read out some more next week.
That's beautiful, man.
Powerful.
Are you alright?
Yeah. I'm a little bit.
It's difficult. Yeah. Right, let's try and move forward if we can.
You did great, June.
Thanks, man.
Stay strong. Stay strong.
Thanks. So, sorry, just a second. 2 for the weekend.
Yep.
2 questions. We asked you on Twitter. You can follow us at Ball Street or at Long Ball Street as well. You can get your questions in there. We answered 2 questions for the weekend, and then we'll be wrapping up this week's one for the weekend. So the first question is from Yusuf at Extremes Don. He said, do you think Mourinho will stay at United for more than 3 years? Obviously, he's had a problem doing that with previous clubs.
Yeah, I think it largely depends on next year. I think he'll certainly try. It must bug him that he's got this reputation that he's desperately trying to rid himself of. I think just out of spite, he'll refuse to resign. Stay there clinging to the desk, whatever happens.
No!
That's exactly how we'll say it. I will not. And yeah, possibly. Too much has been made, I think, out of United's position in the table in relation to how much money they've spent. It's the first season. It's a transitional season. He's moving from what was a very, very strict, regimented way of playing, and he's replaced it with a slightly strict, regimented way of playing. It was a very, very different thing. They're not very interesting. It's going to take a while to get them looking the way it should. It's going to take any manager a while to get a team looking the way they should. So we'll see next season. I think if they're in a title race next season, then yeah, I could see him doing season 4. But if not...
What do you think?
I predicted that he wouldn't even last into this season.
Yeah.
So he's done well in that respect. But I disagree with Ian. He has to be in the top 4. 5th. If he finishes in the top 4, then he might have done enough. Without Ibrahimovic's goals, and he's absolutely brilliant at times this season, they would be in trouble. And I think that signing has got him out of trouble. There's still massive work to be done there. They're difficult to beat. He's made them secure, which, to be fair, is the building blocks of any successful team. And we will see next season. But how much more money will he have to spend in order to actually compete with Chelsea and, as it appears this season, Tottenham? A fortune. So I don't think he'll be here in 3 years. I think it's quite rare for you to see a manager that will be at any club for longer than 3 years unless they're very, very good.
The thing that United need is stability.
I know.
It's true.
Did you know that?
I'd still say it.
Were you aware of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be. I think he'll do very well next year, and I think he will make it past the 3-year mark. Right, and second and final question from Lafage. He likes to get involved, doesn't he, sometimes?
He's a good lad.
FAJJ. How do you see the transfer market going in 10 to 15 years' time? Now, we actually haven't spoken about Football Manager, but that is an insight that you slightly get if you can stick around long enough.
Yeah.
So from your experiences on Football Manager, have you ever gone? What's the furthest you've gone?
Actually, not that far, because I'm one of those people who I like to micromanage. I like to do my under-18s and my development squad and my first team squad. So a lot of times a new game will come out and I'm like, oh, I'm only 5 seasons through.
Right.
I haven't had my second go yet. So no, I never get too far. As for the real transfer market, I've been saying it for 10 years, but there's got to come a point where this madness ends.
What do you mean by what madness?
Moving up towards £100 million transfers now, and at some point the bum's going to fall out of the market, surely, because otherwise, on the rate of increase, you're going to be looking at sort of 250, 300 million pound
laws
transfers.
of economics, it has to.
Yeah.
There is no feasible way it can keep going.
The worry, I think, at the moment is that fewer people are watching live football. You've seen Sky's ratings have taken a battering. BT's aren't as high as they would have wanted. And once advertisers start feeding into that, then maybe the money comes down. But I stress again, for the last 10 years, I've been saying it must have reached saturation point. And every time the deal gets bigger and bigger. And when there's more money coming through TV, they can spend more money on players. But there must be a natural finishing point.
Yeah, exactly. There is. And if you think actually that the players, you look at Pogba, an 80, 90 million pound player, and you realise that there's a market aspect to that. They're going to make a lot of money from image rights and whatnot, but then it's actually the middle market that's more of an issue, I think, because if you look at Kyle Walker, it looks like he's going out of Tottenham. He signed a new contract in September. It's going to cost him maybe 3 times his actual value to get him, and it's that kind of a player where you're going to spend and not make a great deal back off of like shirt sales and marketing, where I think it becomes an issue. So if Man City have to spend 50 million to get him, probably realistically 20 million pound player, that's double and a significant amount of money. And Man City can do it, but
Man, they've got to pay his wages. If they're paying him £100,000 a week, that's £5 million a year over a 4-year contract. That's 20 million quid.
We'd have to up his wages because he's probably on about.
He's on 70 at the moment. I think. But yeah, a lot of money.
It's a lot of money for a player who was pretty average before Pochettino got hold of him.
He'd love to drop that in there.
He is the only thing that's important at Tottenham.
Right, so that's it for One for the Weekend. What we'll do very quickly is we'll reveal from our 13 predictions this week, reveal one banker and one upset. So for me, my upset this week is there aren't any huge upsets, but I think my upset is Aston Villa to beat Brighton. I think that will mean that Newcastle will win the league. I really hope that doesn't happen, but I've got a funny feeling that Villa are going to do that, so that's my upset. My banker is Liverpool versus Southampton, which probably doesn't sound like
banking on Liverpool.
I am banking on Liverpool. Southampton concede a lot of goals. They're a very attacking side, which you would see as a positive for Southampton, but I think that will allow gaps and space for Liverpool to get
Had they been as good without Mane and Coutinho's injured as well, isn't he?
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about them winning the game, and I'm putting my neck out there. I know
they upset me.
Do they?
Yeah, they really do.
They upset you. So is that your upset?
I am upset by Liverpool. I was working out their points average the other day, and it was something like 1.68 points per game against non-top 7 teams, and 2.16 against top 7.
Yeah.
It was like they are a punter's nightmare. My upset is Swansea, who are in the relegation zone, to beat Everton, who are 7th and in very good form against teams not above them. I just think this will be the day that Swansea stand up, get their stuff together and tear Everton a new one. And as a banker, Leicester at home to Watford. Leicester in fantastic form.
Unbelievable.
What possibly could have changed?
Yeah.
It's also really nice. We'll talk about this on the Guardian. That those of us who said they're going to regress, but not that much. They'll be like upper mid-table at the end of the season. It's like, see, nothing to worry about. It's fine.
That was. I said 12th at the start of the season. Got destroyed for it.
What we said he would finish higher.
I said they finished. Yeah, everyone's like 8th.
Yeah, I thought about 8th or 9th.
They might do that now.
It's still there. It's still there. Look at that. They need like 4 points on West Brom, who
are falling.
Who are falling away.
Yeah.
I've also got as an upset Swansea, because my other upset's talking about Burnley and West Brom, and as we know, that's the dullest game on earth. So I'm not going to talk about it. So Swansea versus Everton for the same reasons, exact same reasons. I still like what Clement's done at Swansea, and he went for a little sticky period, and I think he's going to come out good. My banker, I'm saying Bournemouth versus Stoke.
Bournemouth versus Stoke.
Who? Banker on Bournemouth.
Okay, right, so that's our predictions. We want you guys to get involved as well. Garrett, make sure you get your predictions in as well. Garrett is your fan representative. Doing very well for you at the moment. So firstly, give him some love in the comments below. Then secondly, give him some advice on what you would do, and let us know what you would do in the comments below. We'll put the fixtures as the first comment, copy and paste that, and give us your predictions, and we'll have a chat. Let us know what you think about everything that's been in the podcast this week. Well, there was one wicked question. What was it? I've forgotten it now. Oh, that's annoying.
It was the dicks.
Dicks,
Sorry.
Yeah. Get your dicks out. Get your dicks out in the comments below.
What podcast is this? Where's my agent?
Why not? Some pet hates as well is always good. Favourite and least favourite footballing phrases. Ian, thank you so much, mate.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully you enjoyed it.
Thanks,
good. That's it for this weekend. If you haven't subscribed to Long Ball Street or Bullshit Network Audio, it's actually called now, isn't it? Is that right?
Well, it's called the audio, but Bullshit Audio Network.
Bullshit Audio Network. Sorry, I was close.
It's just because there's more than one.
Okay, right. Because there's more than one now. Then do it.
A network.
Right. All the admin stuff. You know what to do. You've been watching it long enough. And we'll be back next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.